Hello, everyone. Welcome to the trip. It's Monday. It's been a long time since it's been a Monday where we said, "Whew, Arsenal got a win in a Premier League match." But it's here. It took us 5 weeks, but we made it. We're spending more than 5 weeks actually. It's probably been like 7 weeks. But we
And,
are. But
and we,
we are there. But before I let you say your words, and welcome to the show. I am DWTT. This is Tony. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, minus the medical stuff I'm dealing with, which I haven't informed you of. But
Or
yeah,
as
sometimes,
you call it, any day with that ends in Y.
nah, not this time. It's a little bit more
What do you
screwed
mean?
up than
What
normal.
do you mean it's a little bit more? You act like you don't deal with medicine every day, or the medical
Yeah, but
field, or anything medical, or something with your body.
I usually don't go in for a colonoscopy and have it aborted after a minute and 45 seconds. And I get an endoscopy in the upper third and middle third of my esophagus has severe fungal infection. So,
I
so,
told
so,
you to
so,
stop. I told you
so,
to
so
stop eating that stuff out the backyard. See what it does. But you didn't listen. You didn't listen. And last but not least, we got Spencer in the house. Spencer, how are you doing?
Happy Monday. I'm doing well. Can't complain. Not much. I mean, Broncos won. Arsenal won. Clemson was the only guarantee this weekend. They played the Citadel, so that was easy. But it's a good weekend when everybody wins.
You know what? This is probably I was surprised by a couple of the wins this weekend from my teams outside of Arsenal. I was hope. What was that? A cat? Like what? What the, all of a sudden, I saw some fur just like blocking the screen. I was like, dude, what's going on there?
Yeah, he's upstairs right now. He just got fixed last week, so I'm trying to quarantine him. But carry on. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Well, I'll say hello to everybody, then I'll get into my football weekend, and then let everybody have their football weekend. But we'll talk first. We'll say hi to BX. Gunna is in the house. Welcome to the show. Miss Melina is here. Hello. She says hi to the panel and the chat. Yes, if you haven't already, hit the likes. And but yeah, good weekend for me. Arsenal wins. Florida Gators football wins. And the damn Cowboys tried their hardest not to win, but the Washington Commandos, I'm not calling them by their real name. The Washington Commandos definitely kept giving the ball back and said, "Here, you win it." And eventually we just did.
Gary, I think
And
was to call them the GI Joes.
I don't know what they are, but that was a terrible game. Like of all the games I've seen this season, the way they've played all season, for them to play like that at home against us, that was terrible.
Well, the Commanders are pretty much plateaued anyway. People figured out Jalen Daniels, and I mean the 3 o'clock hour on Sunday for the NFL was by far. I'll argue this to the cows come home. The NFL is better than college football. That 3 o'clock hour, the Bears were down 10 points with 18 seconds left and took it to overtime. So, in that game, you're talking about your Cowboys. That one was just wild. So,
Nobody
They,
wanted to really run
yeah,
away with it. And when they did run away with it, they let the other team right back in. And then you're like, all right, it should be a tie game. So this is going to overtime.
yeah.
My Cowboys will probably lose now.
And he hit
Nope.
the post.
Nope. There was so many
eh,
missed field goals and extra points in that game. That was a big difference in the game right there. Because I think both field goal kickers missed at least one. I think Cowboys missed two. There was
Cowboys
an
had
extra
2 on the
point
first.
miss.
Yeah, block
So
punt. Yeah,
block punt, everything was just going
yeah,
on in that game.
sloppy.
99-yard punt return off of a fumble. You know, that a nice little spin at the 10-yard line, and that just threw everybody off. And then an onside kick return for a field goal for a touchdown. You're like, what the what's going
Yeah,
on there? It was like 40 points scored in like in the fourth quarter.
me too. I think is what it was.
Oh man.
yeah,
Uh,
it's weird when you have those wild last 2 to 5 minutes. It's just
yeah. And when it was
total
a 10
bedlam.
point game, it was a 10-point game with 5 minutes to go. You think Cowboys are probably going to win this? Nope. Nope. It took a little time. Took a lot longer than that. So let's see. Big Skinner says he's at the Chinese spot getting some fried sugar donuts, a shrimp roll, and a large lemonade. Fried sugar donuts at the Chinese shop.
Isn't that a little late to get donuts?
It's never late to get donuts, Tony. What are you talking about?
Only time it's not too late if
There is no time. There
I,
is never a time when it's not right to get donuts.
I think there is, but the only exception is you drive by, you see the hot sign at Krispy Kreme, so you go in there so you can eat 6 donuts that just melt into your mouth. You don't even have to chew.
That is false. That's the bat signal. That's all that is. That's all that is. But it's never a wrong time to have a donut. I don't know about you, Spencer, but is there like a set window of time where you're not eating donuts because it's bad?
I gotta do weigh-ins for the military. Can't have them then. It's always that time. So saying that one day.
You're blocked, Gary.
He's talking about block like one time every like 3 months or something ridiculous like that, right? He's not talking about like every day between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. You can't have a donut.
No, as far as time of day, there's really not a bad time of day. Preferably in the morning, but preferably in the morning. Usually when you get coffee or something, I don't mix the donut with the coffee. I think that's criminal. I'd rather you can have the coffee with the donut, but have them be separate.
I really hate when you get the coffee flavored or the donut flavored coffee.
Yeah.
Donut flavored coffee. Oh, I don't know about that. Yep. Cowboys did pull off one. You know what? I don't want to win now because like the wins don't help us at all. They just push us further down in the draft.
Yeah.
And guess what? We're not good at drafting as it is. We need like to have like you have to take this player at this position as opposed to you have a choice.
I mean, you can. The Broncos have a wide receiver right now that's a 7th round pick that's balling out, so you can get better players. I'll tell you what though, and I know we're going to Arsenal in a little bit, but the Broncos, the reason they got Bo Nix is they lost that game last year to the Raiders, the last game of the season. And the Raiders got the 13th pick and they got the 12th. And the Raiders took Brock Bowers and the Broncos took Bo Nix. And the rest is history.
It
does matter.
We need a legit player coming in. Like, he's going to make a difference. Like, the best running back of all time in college, but there isn't one coming out right now. So that's what they need. They need a lineman. They need maybe a defensive lineman. They need, like you said, a wide receiver. You got too many questions. That's why you need an easy pick.
That's not what your Cowboys need. Your Cowboys need a tombstone that says "Here lies Jerry Jones."
Well, then his son would have to be next to him, but that's not going to happen. So we're going to have to just deal with what we got. Giants are the Banter Club. Yeah, we'll see what happens this Thursday. If Cowboys are able to get by them and then push themselves higher down or lower down in the draft table. Steven joins us. Welcome to the show, Steven. Rosie's in the house. Welcome to the show, Rosie. Say hello to everybody. Hello. Oh, this is my buddy David Quirk. He's a Liverpool fan. He's Australian, but he's a Liverpool fan, and he's actually a Commandos fan. I'm sorry, David, but I don't call them by their real name. So, but welcome to the FT.
I prefer just to call them the Washington team or Washington football, whatever they call them for 2 seasons.
Yeah, that.
How does it take them nearly 3 years to have a name? And they had all their prep going forward of knowing that people were wanting them to change names, which
I hear you.
is stupid. Wow. I live in a state. Oklahoma literally means red people.
Yeah.
Time to change Oklahoma to something else.
Maybe. Andrews
speaking
joins the
of-
show. Let me finish with the. Everybody's trying to chat with us in the chat, and then we'll get into Arsenal. We haven't even got to the football yet. Been like 10 minutes. Let me say hello to everybody. Anders, welcome to the show. You've got Alonzo in the house. Yes, welcome. You got great talent to have. I don't know what that. I missed that. Yes. All right. Yeah, no, Jerry Jones is not staying. No, Mr. Tom. Yeah, Mr. Tom doesn't make this show. So he needs his rest. Beauty sleep. That's what I'm calling it anyways. Yeah. Dak to a long he's got a lifelong contract now. You're not getting another one. All right. So here we go. Tony, you wanted to start on something that was what, related to football or
Yeah, I said what Oklahoma means, but now I can talk about Oklahoma destroying Alabama 24-3. Alabama had 73 rushing yards. So
it was yeah, I think it was like 3 teams in the SEC pretty much got knocked out the playoffs this weekend because Ole Miss, Alabama, and Texas A&M all basically suffered at the hands of their opponents, and the chances to get in are slim. And looks like Clemson does get in.
No,
Because they don't play anybody.
Now you have all the Big Ten teams getting in.
Is that what it's going to be? It's just going to be a boring playoffs. But anyways, let's get into
who's going to win. So we'll see.
Let's get into it. Here we go. Arsenal. Whew. They needed to get a win. I think me and Tony talked about it yesterday. Spencer talked a little bit about it on Saturday after the game. I don't know if anything's changed since then. I did try to watch the game, but I didn't get to watch all of it. I'll take it. Like I said, I'll take the 3 points. Like I said, I don't care. We get it. If we get it by the skin of our teeth, I'll take it. But if we're able to run away with it, I will be happier. And I think that's where. So this is one of those games where I'm happy that we're able to get in there and actually comfortably win this game that we should, and make Forest look the way they did. So I'm taking the 3 points. I'm taking the performance. I take performance over results every day, and that was a good performance from us. People are gonna say it was because we had Erdegaard back. I think it was that and a little bit more, but or at least people playing more in their positions than anything else. But yeah, that's what I want to go with that. Tony, talk to me. Do you enjoy the game?
I enjoyed the fact we scored 3
You don't want to.
goals.
You're never going to answer a question, are you? Tony, did the sun come up today in Oklahoma?
Yes, it did, Gary.
Why would you answer?
Doctor accurate answers to the questions. Legit question. Maybe some of this could be solved. I'm just saying.
Go on, Tony. Continue on.
If I was a Batman character, I would be the Riddler.
I don't know. I don't think those are riddles. But go on.
But happy we scored 3 goals. Creativity changes when you get Odegaard in there instead of 3 holding midfielders. You got Trossard in there instead of Martinelli. Just Martinelli to me, all he has is the speed. He doesn't have knowing when to make runs, knowing when to leave a pass in there. And you figure having a teammate like Trossard, some of that would rub off on, or Odegaard even. But it hasn't helped. But it was nice to have a clean sheet. It was probably almost nicer than the 3 goals. But we still shot like 21 and 9 on target. But it's nice to bag some goals, Gary.
Yep. And one of the main differences is that we actually had more than enough chances to score. So, and we actually took shots that we don't usually take. But that's a good thing. Spencer, how did the game go for you? Now that you've had a little time to simmer on it.
Oh, I mean, I simmered on it, Gary, and I was very happy. I mean, Odegaard being back was critical. I mean, I think he just opens everything up. He makes players around him better offensively from an attacking perspective. We got, Timber was up there with him, and I think it just made Saka be able to make more runs, take more risk, right? Where he can kind of free flowing like the first goal he did, like he's running across the pitch there, but he also knows he's got Timber and Odegaard filling those spaces that he's vacated. It feels good to have an attacking player back because you got to have someone that links the play, and Odegaard just does that, and we need him to stay healthy. I'm sure we'll talk about some of the other players later on, but there was more shots taken outside the box, and I think I mentioned that to you a couple of weeks ago, and even Saturday after the Newcastle game. Just take some shots, man. Like Trossard had one that was directly in the hands. Now, granted, it resulted in, I think, a corner, but it's a shot that maybe in the Newcastle game they don't take that they should have taken. Something from outside the box. Partey's goal. I mean, come on, Now, granted, Forrest gave you all that space to take some of those shots, and Newcastle's a little more sound defensively, at least if you compare the two games. But yeah, I mean, look, I said this last Monday. The season's been in thirds right now because of 3 international breaks. We're in that 4th break of the season where we're like, okay, what's this team going to be? And you got to be happy with the start and the result as well. But yeah, just overall, I don't think it could have got any better. I really don't. Clean sheet, 3 points, 3 goals. A couple players get some time that you wanted to see, get some time, and you got a Champions League match tomorrow, and you have to feel good about the form coming into that game. So
I hear you. Rosie says hit those likes. Hit those likes and subscribe. BX thinks not only, I guess not only do we have Vertigor back, but we did have Timber and California back, which gives a different dynamic on the back line. I get Vertigor giving Saka a little bit more freedom. I think that's there no matter what. His ability, I think the option for him to move into the center and still take a shot has always been there. I just don't think he takes it. For me, sometimes he's going to need to do that because he can, and he's really good when he shoots. So I kind of felt like some of the things we saw are things that we could have seen before. That's what I think. I think we just don't take it because there's rules to this. There's a plan that we go through, and that's just not in the cards doing that. But yeah, it's good to like when we talk about, well, he doesn't have any defensive presence behind him, but then when we play with a midfield of like pretty much 3 less attacking players, that to me means that we probably have more defensive structure behind him. So why doesn't he take advantage of that? I don't know, because he once he gets the ball, it's up to him to decide what to do. So for me, I think the rules state, and this is Arteta in any case, is what he can and cannot do, and he doesn't. I don't think he gets the freedom, the liberty to go out there and make a play when it's not there, because that's what we need sometimes. Sometimes we just need somebody to go out there and not necessarily force it down people's throat, but make them pay because you're a better player, and Saka's a better player and can do that. So, yeah, there's let's let Tony continue on. I said in the first match of the season that the slow build-up style would cost us. Our strength is our speed and the chaos we created, and that was on show in full force against Forest. I don't know. Is it really? Are we really that? Are we really act more fast when we have Vertigo in the game?
It's the decision making, though, Gary. It's knowing what's next. That's the difference when you have 3 holding midfielders versus 1 attacking midfielder up there that's thinking about linking the play. Like Moreno plays pretty good box to box. I thought he was good on Saturday. But again, that's levels raised from having Odegaard on the other side, so we can still be structurally sound. Even if you go and look at where the player's position was, Moreno pretty much stayed at the 50-yard line the majority of the time, and you had Jorginho and Odegaard posting up. So we talked about Jorginho, being like a 6, but he played more like an 8 on Saturday. But we also tried to play every part of our attack on that right side, the Odegaard, Saka, Timber side. So I think there's a lot of truth to what Steven's saying there is like the pace, being quick with your attacks, not allowing them to sit in. When you have those 3 holding midfielder players, like, their mentality isn't the same as someone who's used to being progressive and moving up the pitch. I mean, he had 3 progressive dribbles on Saturday. Odegaard did. Like, that's, what I mean? Like the link up play, they did stupid short videos showing his footwork and stuff. I know people laugh and roll their eyes at that, but he's just good. And he just sees the game differently. It's what we've been missing. But I do think our build-up play has maybe cost us in some of those games because we didn't have someone that could help create those answers for the guys to make the answers.
Yeah,
when you're missing that, it just makes it so difficult.
I hear you. Tony, you got something to say?
Yeah, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but I'll take it further. To me, Saka's so ingrained of dropping back, even though he has Odegaard there. But if you have Timber there as well, then you kind of know you have the space, even though Arteta's probably screaming at you from the sideline to not go ahead and go forward. But I think that's where we lack a lot of the creativity is he just wants this like drilled down military type of approach to playing football instead of just letting them go out there, be creative, letting their physicality and knowledge of the game and all that stuff. But I think that's a big part of why Saka just doesn't go up there and shoot because he doesn't have the green light to go ahead and do that.
Oh,
And
yeah. I think that's what I said.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what I said. I
Okay.
said you pretty much alluded to it.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of how I feel about. I think he could be a much better attacker and scorer he's just not allowed. Like for me, I think Erdogan should be scoring and assisting a lot more. I understand why he doesn't because of the style of play that we have, but I think when we need to score, he needs to be part of that. I mean, Erdogan should be up there in the attack. Like I'd rather have him taking the shots than Partey. You know what I mean? And he's ahead of Partey in most positioning on the pitch. So the fact that Partey comes in and scores is like, yes, but I think some of that should also come from him. He should be at least setting up the assists. That means he's closer to the, closer up. He doesn't have to be the linchpin that keeps things together.
Yeah.
Every time, once in a while, that same linchpin can be the guy who creates the assist or takes the shot.
Two seasons ago, Odegaard had over 10 goals in the league. I think that's where he needs to be. That's why I don't like this formation and stuff. Because you have him as a right aid instead of just being in the middle. It really doesn't matter where you're at in the middle. As long as you're in the middle, you got more options to attack because guess what? You got people on both flanks. And if you have as good as vision and knowledge and reading the game as Odegaard, then you're the spot players, and then you can score on both sides of the pitch, which helps you out.
Yep. No. Yeah. Yes. It's the first match that Arsenal Misfit gave Arteta more than a 6. And that's all due to the change in style. That's why I felt like just because Erdegaard is out doesn't mean we can't play a similar style. Maybe it looks a little different because you put in, for example, an Nweri, and we're more attack minded than we are. Let's solidify things in the midfield. I'll take a 4-2 win with Nweri in there than whatever we've been doing before, which hasn't been working. Because if supposedly his defense isn't up to the same level as Erdegaard, which is probably true because he's younger, but the one thing I think he will do for us, he'll help open up, if not just score, and maybe we score more, and maybe we score that second goal that I covered in most games. All right, so that's my thinking there. Yeah, he definitely rotated. Colonel Ward joins us. Welcome to the show, Colonel Ward.
And Gary, you have the fact that he scored four goals in less than 2.5 games this season. Mm-hmm. So he has that attacking prowess, which we need, because there's so many of these games that me and you are like it's 1-0 or 2-0 in the first half, but it always feels like we need that extra goal. And whenever he does that, he goes to him in the last 20, 30 minutes, like Spencer said, the critical times and the critical teams like Liverpool, you seen him come in. So it's criminal to me. The more I think about it, the more I see the goal yesterday and the fact that Odegaard was out for the 4 or 5 games that he was out for. You didn't give one area start. I think that's criminal. Instead, you play 3 holding midfielders. I don't like it.
I hear that. I'm with you on some of that. I think Nweri needed more minutes. I don't know about the starts that some people wanted him to get, but I think he deserved a lot more minutes, especially when we were struggling to score. Arsenal Misfit says we spent the whole season walking the ball up the pitch, giving our opponents time to set up defensively and have a cup of tea. Forest weren't allowed that and really got set up so we had more room. You know what? I don't even know if that's the case either. I think we had definitely more control, but we didn't have to. In some cases, we weren't necessarily walking the ball up, but they weren't really. I think they seemed threatened to me. They didn't seem like they were going to try to take the ball away from us, put us in positions where we're going to give the ball up. I think they must have been concerned with Erdegaard being in the game, how things would play out. And I mean, in our possession of the football was not met with much resistance to me. And we kept Awani, I think is that what it say his name. Pretty quiet in the game. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga didn't offer much. You know what I mean? So we kept them at bay as well. And I think that's because of the way we played offensively.
Gator wants out.
Yeah, he's been a bad boy, so that's why he's whining a little bit. So we're going to have to just hopefully deal with that. I'll mute if he gets a little loud in this round. BX Gun asked, and Spencer answered, and the system is Jesus' role to be the link-up man then? Is that the role under Arteta? I don't... Once again, for me, Trossard and Jesus, their influence on the game, not much. I don't know what you think about that, Spencer, but if we play without those 2 players, I didn't feel like we would have missed much. Because when the ball came into the middle, a lot of times it was, for me, Erdegaard and Saka doing a lot of the work. And that's about it in most cases. I don't know what you felt about that, but I didn't feel like Jesus and Trossard, for me, influenced the game on the attacking side as much as I thought they should have in a game like this where we possess the ball so much.
Jesus, I would say not as much, but Trossard, I think he had a little bit of an impact. I mean, I'm looking at the stats right here: 2 progressive dribbles, 1 key pass. Look at his passing rate on 31 completed passes, 7 crosses. The thing with Jesus, and Jesus had 2 more key passes than Trossard. The thing with Jesus is, like, we keep thinking of him as a 9, but I just don't know if that's what we're getting anymore. I don't know if he's a striker. To me, he still feels like a winger, like BX said, you could throw him in the midfield. Whether people like Jesus or not, you're gonna have to find a spot for him. Whether it's a sub off the bench or whether he starts a few games. That's what he is. You've got him this season. You can't live without him. You can't have Havertz do every single bit of action. Is playing the 9 this year. You just can't do it. Not with the amount of games we got. Trying to win on 4 fronts. So he's got to figure out somewhere to fit in this whole role. I don't know if he's. Hold on one second, Tony. Hold on one second. I don't know if he's clinical enough to give us 10 goals again. Like, I don't know if it's there. But there's you got to figure out a new role for him. Trossard, on the other hand, I think he did a lot better than what I remember. But Jesus is the one that I think we're also being a little more critical on Jesus because we're looking at it, right? And what are we judging him on? So it's complicated. It's complicated. It's first game back. He gave him a start. I think he gave him almost the full 90 minutes. Sterling came on for him, but no, Sterling came on for Saka. But anyway, like, you just can't give up on these guys. I mean, look, I know we'll get to this in a second. I'll let you go in a second, Tony. Tyranny's back in the squad for the Champions League. If we're going to compete on these 4 fronts, we've got to use the players that are here at the club. We just have to. So, but go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
Trying to remember where I was going there. Shit. You made me forget, Spencer.
Sorry.
But to me,
before I forget, grab a pen and a piece of paper, Tony, because
I'll go with the different thing. I just don't. Oh, I remember what I was going to say because this comment was about him too. But you also have the option of selling Jesus in the winter window, which I would probably do because you're gonna get more money for him.
You can try.
As much as people want to say he's a striker, he's not a striker. And he's really not an out-and-out winger. He's just kind of like a midfielder without a place to go to.
I hear you. I don't think we're gonna. If we sell them, we have to get something in. That's the thing. Who are we gonna get in? Are they gonna be like they need to be? What? They need to be somebody that's gonna be able to get us maybe, 10 to 15 goal contributions in the second half of the season where we're at right now to make it worth our time.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. Let me see. Steven says here, he actually agrees with me. Somebody agrees with me today. No, I think everybody agrees with this one, though. But, Erdogan out of the game, we shouldn't just not be able to play football anymore. We shouldn't be able to not be able to defend anymore, be able to attack anymore. That can't happen. And, hopefully Arteta's learned that and hasn't forgotten it. If the game's not going well, even with Erdogan in the game, maybe he comes out or maybe you move things around. But, we need to be a little bit flexible in the sense that the answer is not always our starting 11. Sometimes they're having a bad day. Sometimes they shouldn't even have started it, but you tested it anyways. And you realize, damn it, I shouldn't have even started him today because guess what? What I thought was going to happen happened, and then you make the decision. We've seen Pep do it, and I always bring up Pep doing it because guess what? Arteta's learned from him, and who's on the sidelines when it happened. When we, I think he subbed in the 35th minute in a game, and then he subbed again. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you just have to make a change. So that's Arteta.
But based on the lineup we had Saturday and the fact that we play tomorrow, it leaves more question on who he's going to play or who's he going to try to rest because it's not really a clear picture. It's like a snow globe. You just shake it up and you see all the white filling up the picture.
He can rest anybody. That's where we need to be at this point. He can rest anybody, right? Like what player that didn't play over the weekend can we say, you know what? He's probably not going to come in. Him coming in is a bad decision right? Because is it Neto, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Martinelli didn't come into the game. Neto's not probably going to come in, but Declan Rice, Havertz, Martinelli, I could see them definitely having a start, or. So and that's not going to affect much, right? That's just going to fix us up top and in the midfield, right? Nothing changed on the back line. So I think that's where we need to be now. We're going to have to rotate, which I always call for. And now I didn't expect us to do it on the first game, but that's how it's supposed to look, right? When we rotate, it's supposed to look exactly the way it did. We didn't really miss a beat much. Like if it's a big game, I don't see us doing it, but I think most teams we should be able to manage with the squad that we have, right? Because I don't think there's anybody on our squad right now that hasn't either played in a big game or has the talent to do that. I mean, there's pretty much nobody I think right now in our squad. Which I don't know. When's the last time we've been able to say that? That guess what? We've got guys that I don't want to see play anymore because Arteta's put trust in them and made us believers in some cases. Right? Here we are. I didn't want to see him in certain games, but he brought him in, and his first game was in Anfield, right? So now I'm like, all right, if Arteta trusts him and we see him come in and start and all of that, and he's been performing, so that would be the only player I think that's at that out. Maybe I don't want to see him, but I think Arteta's got trust in him, and I think that's where we should be rotating him from here on out, right? That means even Erdogan might have to sit once in a while when things are getting tough. So.
The one that surprised me is how Arteta basically hasn't played Jorginho this season except for the last 2 games.
He's saving him, I guess, and maybe Partey has hit that wall. I don't know. We don't know, right? But those are things that could have happened. Maybe he's saving him and trying to see how far he can go with Partey, and then you know what? Now Partey might. Who knows if we're breaking down, but he hasn't really played 20 plus matches for us since he's been around that we consistently. So it's probably about time that we do that, especially this window of time that we have, right? A game every 3 to 4 days. It's probably not something that you want to push Partey into.
Completely forgotten here, Gary, is Rice didn't play Saturday.
Yeah.
So you got a really good performance out of Jorginho and Partey on Saturday without Rice playing. So that's always the positive. I mean,
it's not a surprise though, is it?
That those two can do the job for it against Nottingham Forest. It shouldn't be.
No, but it's not a surprise for me.
No.
I expect him to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. No. The levels of expectation are 100% matched on that. No question, Gary. I mean, that's 100% what you want to expect from those two gentlemen, especially on the money they're making every week and their levels and where they've been. I mean, Jorginho's a Champions League guy. I mean, you expect that from him, and Partey. I think the thing with Partey, his availability has been the most impressive thing. And of course, just jinxed it. But I mean, this is a guy that if we put all the cards on the table and all midfielders are healthy, he might have been the odd man out and have to sit there and hang out at right back, if needed. So I wonder if the competition has raised Partey's willingness to push through injuries. Whereas a couple years ago, he would have been like, my quad. I'm going to go sit and collect this check for a little bit. I'm not saying that's exactly what he did, but he's, when you have competition behind you, you're more likely to fight through things than you are to take it easy.
I don't know if you two agree, but to me, Rice has been disappointing this season.
Yeah, I think his performances haven't been where the levels that we were at last season. But I think this is where Arteta rushed him back when we saw. Well, I think we saw Rodri stay out, but I think Rodri was more because of an injury. I think Rice could have sat out a little bit because of performances because he wasn't really. I don't think he was at the right percentage to be ready to play for us this season. So, yeah. I think that's So that's kind of how I feel about him right now. He's going to need, need to work him back into into the rotation. That's where we needed to be, right? A player's having a bad time. You sit him, and then you bring him in gradually, right? He sat out, he watched the game. Maybe he'll come back up with a little bit of fire and a little bit more attention to detail and all that kind of stuff because he has been lacking. No, he hasn't been the Rice that we saw last year when he was one of our top players. So yeah, maybe hopefully the rest has done him well, and we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Rice, and the fact that we do have Jorginho and Partey, I think that's kind of the coverage that we needed. Yeah. So I agree, Tony. I just think that Rice for me has been our biggest disappointment on the pitch this season. Mm. Yeah.
But the question is that. Go ahead, Gary.
No, I was just gonna say this is kind of. I mean, I don't know about injury, but definitely burned out. I think burned out, and then we pushed him, and then maybe got him injured. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say this much. I mean, Rice is if you were to take the name away, Declan Rice, and take away the transfer fee, he's playing okay. But because of the expectation and the name and how much you paid for him, he's not playing to the level you expected to play. Now also, should he be playing an 8 or playing a 6? I think he's a 6. That's what I think he is. I think he's a linchpin and sits there at the 50 and cleans up the garbage and helps progress things from to the upper 8s. But just the expectation level is higher for Declan Rice. Now, granted, we had the yellow card incident that turned into a red against Brighton. That was definitely not a good look. We can talk about who's at fault there. Not the point I'm bringing up, but at the same time, there's higher expectations for a Declan Rice, and when the results aren't going the way they should be, you're gonna blame some of the high wage earners at the club because we need you're earning that money, get us through this through the troubles, get us through the doldrums, right? So let's see what happens. We'll see who did he manage him for Tuesday? Maybe. But they need to figure out where they're going to play him and have an Odegaard back and Moreno. I mean, that's probably your midfield right there. If you're honest, that's probably going to be Rice, Moreno, and Odegaard. Some people would argue Partey over Moreno. I don't think you're wrong either way, but that's a good rotation and good problems to have. And even Jorginho as a break in case of emergency. Okay, sign me up for that midfield. So
I still don't think it matters on his salary or what we spent on him. I just think he's been a disappointment this year compared to last.
You don't put down $100 million on a player that you don't think is worthy and going to be an influence in the squad. You don't do that. So for me, you paid 70 or 65 for Havertz. You paid 100 for Rice. You don't do that and then go, it's all right. The money doesn't mean much. No, the money meant you really thought that player was going to influence the game and influence your team, and he did last season. So for me, nah. That the money actually is just as equal as saying this guy's kind of, you buy somebody on the free, and instead of maybe spending $100 million on them, you give them a $300K a week salary, right? They both are reason you're doing that for a reason. The reason why is because you think you can win with them, and they will influence the game. That's what you're doing, right? So for me, the money is the case in point as to why he should be influencing the games better, because that's what you pay the money for.
And there's expectation levels for Reece Nelson are lower than they are for Declan Rice. Obviously, Reece isn't on the team, but it's the example I'm using.
It's like Kiwior. Kiwior, we paid 24 for him. We don't look at him the same way we look at Saliba and Gabriel. We don't look at him the same way we look at Calafiori and Timber, right? We don't look at him the same way we look at Ben White. He's like, what, 6th, 7th down on the list, right? Zinchenko costs us more money than Kiwior, but Kiwior, I think, is going to be asked to do more for us. Even we've seen Skelly be asked to do more for us than Zinchenko. At some point, yes, the money doesn't matter, but it usually is because it's going down, not because it shouldn't be up there. Yeah, Rice should be influencing the games for us, right? I mean, yeah, he's definitely fallen off this season, and he's winning man of the matches last year. So he doesn't need to be at that level, but he needs to be close. And Mr. Tom joins us. I think he got up for his evening, whatever.
Tinkle.
Yeah, that thing. And he says, good evening to everybody. I think he's caught everybody. Wait, you might be, you're missing Anders. I can see it from there. You're my nan. You also said my name, but you didn't say Anders. Oh, Mr. Tom. And you didn't say my buddy David Quirk as well. Wow, that's just rude. Just rude.
Mm.
I know you called it with anyone who I missed, but wow, missed a really good neighbor of mine, Mr. Tom. Yeah. Let's see. You think he thinks Erdegaard being hurt is the reason Rice hasn't been as productive? Hey, he didn't play with Erdegaard when he was at West Ham, and I think he did all right. So I think he's gonna. I think that he's gonna have to be able to perform as well. Anders is my nan. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I didn't know that. That's a cut. Anders, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you're his nan. I don't know. Maybe nan means something in Sweden than it does in England. Anders, welcome to the family. So I wouldn't replace Partey with Rice because Rice hasn't played well enough. Last season he was good no matter where he played. It's very true. Yeah, he definitely played well everywhere. I didn't like him as a player that's going to progress the ball up the pitch. So whatever that role is, that's not what Rice does for me right now. He'll dribble it up, but to make that pass to split lines, he's not there yet.
So would you argue, Gary, and since we're talking about this, and maybe the question's for Steven, if you have to pick who's playing your six, are you playing Partey at your six or Rice at your six, or are you going to play Partey at your 8 with Odegaard? I mean, that's just what I want to know.
Partey's at the 6 for me. But
yeah, I don't think he ever moves up the pitch.
They all move up.
Rice is going to be up there. Like when he scored that goal in Manchester United match, that's not where you're going to see Partey sitting inside the penalty area.
No,
making a
your
shot.
eight's
So
really going to play outside your box.
That's why I'm saying Partey isn't going to. You can't like compare the two in that sense. Like even if Rice was playing behind him, I don't think he'd ever be that high, in my eyes.
But what Spencer said a while ago, I think by the start of next season, you need to figure out, do you want Rice as your 6 or do you want him as your 8? I think Arsenal will have to figure that out because I think that's kind of torn, and I think that's part of what holds him back because I don't think we have a real clear role there for him.
Was that a question or a statement?
Yeah, both.
Both. There we go. Yeah. No, I 100%. Look at this. Let's go paint this picture. Moreno comes in, gets injured in practice. Boom. Then Odegaard gets hurt in international duty. Boom. And all we've been doing is shuffling the midfielders like a ball underneath a cup. So who can play where at this point? And finally, we might see something break out in some I call it solidarity or stability to that position where they're going to be your main 3 and there's going to be the rotation. And maybe we've seen part of it this last Saturday, but I think tomorrow, considering where we are in the Champions League, I think this is what the 5th match, Tony, right?
Yep.
There. It's a critical pivot point where you're probably going to see the best 11. If the people are available, you're probably going to see Rice. You'll probably see Havertz tomorrow.
Especially considering what they've done at home.
Yeah. I think you'll still see that Odegaard, Timber, Saka side because I think at the end of the day, they're going to try to put some more goals on there to keep that goal difference going up. I haven't looked at the standings, but I guess the Gary stepped away for a second. If you're going to pick your 11 for tomorrow, Tony, who are you picking?
But before I do that, I'm just gonna backtrack for a second.
Go ahead.
You mentioned like stabilizing that midfield. I think that's why you would have put Jorginho in there 4 or 5 games ago. I don't know why you do that when Odegaard comes back. Then you finally insert Jorginho into the team lineup. I want Timber as a fullback. I don't want to see Partey as a fullback. And really not sure on the 11, just like I said, because it was kind of a cloudy picture Saturday of what Arteta was thinking. So it's gonna be interesting, but
I mean,
I
Lisbon's
I
second.
always want Trossard instead of Martinelli. Because against them, you'll need the brains to make the runs and do the timing that Trossard does. I just don't think Martinelli's speed only gets you that because he's usually not looking to pass or score.
I mean, it's a massive game tomorrow. I mean, Lisbon's second in the table. They're on 10 points. Arsenal are sitting there at 7. I mean, it's huge. So sitting at 12th on the table too. On top of that, so I imagine we'll see the best 11 tomorrow. There's no question. But I jumped a little ahead, Gary, since you stepped away for a second. But if you want to pivot back to the Forest match, I'm sure you want to talk about Ethan Nowari.
Just like you guys are talking about, all the midfield options we had, and I just think we didn't use Nweri enough to figure out if that was an answer as well.
Well, yeah,
I think we used Trossard, who I don't like in the midfield. We used Havertz, who I don't like in the midfield. Then we finally got healthy, Moreno and Partey and Trossard. Is it Trossard for me? Or no, how Kai Havertz, I think it was, right? I forget who it was that we had in that midfield, the midfield we don't like. I just think I'd rather have had Partey, another defense like Jorginho, and then have Nweri in front of them. You know what I mean? That's what I would have rather had. Like, then you don't have to worry about the defensive responsibilities of your 17-year-old. You know what I mean?
But I think you could settle that just by playing Timber as a right back because he's very disciplined. He's one of those that doesn't go too far past the halfway line. He usually sits about 7 to 10 yards in front of it when we're in the attack. But
that's not what Arteta wants, though. We saw it in the last game, right? I mean, he was offsides. He was offsides 3 times. That's not that, and that's what Arteta wants. That's maybe what you're saying is in a pinch, yes, but that's not what Arteta wants. So for me, if Arteta wants his fullbacks to push up like that, and where he's going to be a player, I think that will be able to help with that. That's because that's what Arteta wants, based on what we saw.
Do you know what that makes me do, though, Gary? It makes me want to pull out all my hair because you play your fullbacks as wingbacks, and you have a plethora of fullbacks that have played center back, so you can have 3 center backs and have the guys going forward and not worry about the midfield having to play defense. But Arteta has this scheme that he wants his fullbacks attacking and nobody to help Gabriel and Saliba. I don't like it.
Yeah, modern football
makes me uncomfortable, Spencer.
Modern football will do that to you. Grew up in a day where, fullbacks played up to about the 50, and that was it. You played a back 4 and a 4-4-2. Now you're running, false nines and all sorts of different double pivots and whatever. So, but now the Rice situation. I mean, Rice is Rice is always going to make the 11 if he's healthy, in my opinion. I know he didn't on Saturday, but it's just he hasn't played as well this year. But we know there's a player there, and he needs to figure it out. But
I still think you have to define his role.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it changes. That's the problem with the tactics of this manager. If you go look at the heat maps and the player positioning, like Jesus is considered your 9, but he played further back than Trossard, Odegaard, and Saka on Saturday. That's your 9. Okay. You know what I mean? So, Jorginho played an 8 role. He's higher up the pitch than Moreno. Moreno stayed back at the 50. Timber inverted more than Calafiore. Calafiore stayed further back. You know what I mean? There's things change. The modern game, the formations change during the game. So the roles are so, I want to say, they're already kind of, there's a gray line there already. And, all these managers are trying to outdo each other. And it's sometimes football is simple. Just bring it back to the simplicity thing. That stretch that we sat there and we took the Tottenham result. We took the Atalanta result and the Man City result. We ran a simple 4-4-2 with 2 men up top. And we got, the City game should have been 3 points. It didn't work out that way. You took 3 against Tottenham. And then the Atalanta, you got a draw. But sometimes just make it simple.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like I said, it makes me uncomfortable seeing your fullbacks used as wing backs, and I don't care if you call them inverted or not. They're wing backs that they're attacking. But I don't know. Me and Stan always been with 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1, like Arsenal used to play. Formation Arsenal invented was with 4-4-1-1. But I think, like you said, Spitzer, sometimes it's best just to keep it simple. And I think keeping it simple, that gives you more room to add a Winery in there. And he didn't do it. So I think Arteta thinks he's going to go out there and his brains would be overwhelmed because what all Arteta expects that position to do, and maybe Winery doesn't have all of those qualities that Arteta wants, even though he's the better choice.
I just, if he's a coach, he's supposed to be a really good coach, so he can simplify it for his players. So that's what I expect him to do. Yeah, and it's not like, I know we're not talking about starting him and having him play for 90 minutes. That's the thing. Maybe he comes in for a half. Maybe he comes in for 30, 40 minutes, when things aren't going right. So I think that's how you manage it. Yeah, that's how you manage it. So. And Lonzo, I'll interrupt Tony because he interrupts everybody else. So that's how this thing works.
And guess what? I don't complain.
There you go. Well, he's looking out for you, but you don't need to be looked out for in that one. You guys are talking about I think somebody said something about the Porto game. I don't know if they meant the Sporting. And now for me, I don't know about you guys, but the last time we played Sporting and they knocked us out of the Europa League, a little bit of that should be in the back of our minds. All right.
Yeah.
We only get one chance at this, so it doesn't matter where it is. We played in tough arenas, so that's not going to be an issue. We played with big, strong attackers up top, so that won't be a surprise for us. Sound football, we're expecting that. This is another one of those tests that we're going to have this season. We need to come out there and play well enough to get a win. So for me, is it one we can win? Yeah. Is it going to be tough? Yes. But that's what we do. That's what we play this game for these types of nights.
Gary, you have looked at what they've done at home in the Champions League, right?
Yeah. I looked at what City did last season, what Liverpool has done last season. We've played tough teams. Like everybody's like, well, look what they're doing now. You know what? We played against one of the top scorers in the Premier League, right? Is he at Salah level? No. We're able to contain him for much of a game. So I know we have answers for these kind of problems, right? So for me, I think our defense has been solid. I just think we need to make sure our midfield is, because I think we put too much pressure on our defense, expecting them to be perfect, and that's not going to happen when the midfield in front of them is struggling. So we're hopefully back. We don't have that to be an issue anymore. So I think, the more and more Erdegaard plays, the more and more he's going to get comfortable and be able to do a little bit more and take on a little bit more responsibility, especially on the press. Right, we're not even seeing him press right now, and I think that's because he can't. He's just not. His body's just not ready to do that. But that will come. In my eyes, that will come. So he's just organizing from the back. But eventually, he will be helping with the push forward, and that's why I expect to see Havertz in this game. He's going to have to make a difference, put a little bit, a lot more pressure than we put on with Jesus in the game. And one reason I can see Martinelli coming in is maybe because, like you said, he runs. They'll put a lot of pressure on them. The trick is for me is when they make that pass to him, Havertz has to be there to support him. It can't be just Martinelli running by himself and nobody catching up or not there. You know what I mean? That's not always going to work.
That's the problem, though. It's like you got a quarter horse against thoroughbreds. Yeah, they'll eventually get there, but they're not going to get there as fast as your quarter horse because they're fast at a quarter mile. So. I mean, it's been a problem ever since he's been at Arsenal, except for his first year, because when he ran past everybody, he would just kick it into the back of the net. And that would be it. That's why he got 10 goals first season under Europa. I think that's pretty good from a kid from nowhere in Brazil. I mean, he wasn't playing in Europe. It was a good find, good fit, and now he's not progressed enough. Hopefully, he can. To me, this was a make or break season for him, and at this point, he's kind of at the break point. And to ask a question, who do you play as your left winger? Is it Martinelli or is it Trossard?
I don't think we can lean on Trossard as much as you want us to. I think between the two of them, they're going to have to rotate. So I don't, like if that means every other game or every game, I think that's the best you're going to get. I think that's the best way to get anything out of them, because I think if we lean on them too much, then we see what happens, right? We see Trossard play, and then he kind of fizzles out a little bit. I think it'd be nice to be able to rotate him. Havertz, I didn't think he had much of a game. Maybe, I know Spencer, you said he actually played well there. This is going to be a tougher game, so it might be right into his wheelhouse in the sense that, we need a little bit more stability at that position as opposed to a little bit more recklessness. Somebody who's going to be able to break somebody down with their speed, but more just with their, as Tony says, with their mind. Right. So maybe that's what we do. But yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a difficult game tomorrow. Like there's no joke about it. We'll see tomorrow. I'm probably going Martinelli, and I'm just gonna have my guy run at you for 65, 70 minutes, and I'm gonna put this clinical guy on from the 70th minute on. Hopefully, I won't need him at that point. Hopefully, we've taken care of business. But there's two avenues of approach on it. Not familiar with who the fullback is at Lisbon, whether it's an older man or a young kid that's the same speed as Martinelli. Depends on what tactic and who you're going against. But I mean, you're probably going to see your best 11 tomorrow. If they're all available, the best 11 is going to come out.
And what's our best 11 on the
we'll
left
find
side?
out. It's still unknown. It's still unknown at this point. I mean, we have in our eyes, we have players that we would preface as the best 11, but there's also reality versus expectation versus perception. So this one is going to be interesting tomorrow. It's a noon kick, which sucks because some of us in America have to work or have meetings where they can't multitask and watch it. So, yeah, but yeah, so we'll see. It's the fixtures are coming fast, and then you got West Ham on I think Saturday the 30th. So quick turnaround for that. So, and I think that is a road game as well. It's going to the London Stadium.
Yep.
So
It is.
the
And
win
West Ham had
right now is 41% for Arsenal tomorrow, but 31% for them. So.
Yeah, West Ham had a big day today. A 2-0 win at Newcastle, right? So, you know what, I don't know about you guys, but I
Really good result.
rather play a team that just won than a team that lost. So the fact that they just won, they're going back home, they're going to feel comfortable about it. I'll take that over. I'd rather give teams their first loss, if you know what I mean, than try to have them come in where they are going to be not struggling, but pressured to get that next win to get off the snide. So yeah, everybody, make sure you're hitting the likes. Got a question here from Steven. Oh, I think this is does Arteta know what his best 11 is yet?
And it's weird. We're a third of the way through the season. We don't have a clue. Now you're coming up on the festive fixtures where you're playing every 48 to 72 hours. So you're not going to figure it out because you're going to be mixing and matching. So I don't know. It might be March, or it could never come this season. Who's your best 11? Because one you don't know where Rice is. Havertz, you're still not sure where you want to play him at. So there's a lot of questions. I think the answers are there, but just Arteta being stubborn, we're kind of stuck where we don't know who our best 11 is.
Really hasn't had all the people available to pick his best 11, if we're going to be honest here. Because Moreno hasn't been available. Odegaard's been out. Rice was unselectable a few games because of the red card. I mean, there's been a lot of unknowns. Calafiori got injured. Ben White's now out. Like, it's really – there's no excuses for Arteta, but at the same time, we've had these 3 random international breaks. Not random because they were put in the schedule, but either way, it's almost been 3 months of class. We've only played 12 games now, and you still really don't know, but you really haven't had all your eggs there to select out of the carton. So, adding in Moreno is going to be the unknown. Calafiori coming in, that was another person. We're bringing in players every transfer window now that are going to compete with your starting 11. You're not bringing in role players anymore. You're just not. You always should focus on getting someone that can break it into your 11. But, when you spend 50 on Moreno and 45 on Calafiori, they're going to be testing people that are already there, whether that's Timber, Ben White, whoever. They're going to be challenging that person. So, let's just hope for a healthy stretch here. I think that's the big thing. If we can get a healthy stretch here, we've taken on enough injuries. Last year was an anomaly being healthy. You're just not going to get that every year. So,
I mean, we really rode our luck last year too.
Oh yeah,
because you just play these same guys over and over, tons of minutes, not much rotation, and you got lucky.
Yeah.
And this year, we rode our luck, and we're not off the starting line, eight quarter pole, if you want to say, or whatever. We're a little bit behind. Hopefully we figure it out pretty soon, but I mean,
City's giving you some breaks.
Before I got interrupted because I was muted. I was talking, but I was muted myself, so Tony got in before me. But what you ended your last comment there, Spencer, basically is the issue. Like, we were lucky the last 2 seasons. We really didn't have much to worry about in terms of injuries. And that is something Arteta should have not just thought was going to happen again. And I think he's learning that quickly. This is always still a learning. It's still a learning curve for him. Like the things that happened this season can happen anytime, and you should be prepared for it. And I don't think he was, even though he should be. So for me, that's where he was a little ill prepared for what situation could come up, like players coming in not being ready, players being injured, players being suspended. Those are all things that are reasons why you have to, as a manager, to have all the answers and not be surprised by them. I think he was kind of surprised by them.
Players because that's from them.
But you have to be prepared to have an answer when certain things come up. Injuries happen, suspensions happen, all these little things. Players get out of form, right? Like Rice coming in being out of form. There's got to be an answer for that. Rice getting a red card, got to be an answer for that, right? Playing with 10 men, it's got to be an answer for that, right? All these are things that managers. That's part of their job. They have to have answers for all of that.
Also,
here we go. Erdegaard not being injured for the last 2 seasons. Saka, kind of in our eyes, we need to have backup for him, backup for Erdegaard, backup for Saliba. All questions we've been asking for since we realized, look, these are our top players, and we need to make sure that if they're not available, we do have an answer behind the scenes. So for me, that's on Arteta and the management team at Arsenal, that they should have answers for that. And if you're going to let all of your midfield attackers go and keep a 17-year-old, then it can't be that he's 17 years old and that's why we can't use him anymore, right? It can't be, because that's what you did. You kind of weaken your squad by letting him go, and the only reason why you weaken him is because you won't play him, and because you want to put one brick and then let the cement dry, and then put another brick and let the cement dry. Sometimes you just get forced into it and you manage your player. Maybe he doesn't play the 90 minutes, but maybe he does get to play with the starting 11, and then you see how he does for 45 minutes, and you go from there. Maybe he does get more than the 5 minutes at the end of a game when you're looking to score, because what he gives to you. Because supposedly Arteta has been watching this player for a while. So for me, those are questions that Arteta should have answers for, and shouldn't be surprised when it comes up.
How many weeks are we going to beat up Arteta for not playing Worry during that time? Every week?
Every time, for a while. In my eyes, for a while. Yes.
Well, I mean, what else is there to say on it? Like, he didn't play in Worry. We would have played him. We're not the manager.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you're punishing your team. We need to score buckets. We need to score goals. This guy does that. That's all he wants to do. And guess what?
That time's when we pass, though. We can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, though, Gary. It's gone.
No, but it still hurts. It still hurts.
Yeah, I'm here for you, Gary. I trust me. I'm with you. I don't know else. I can't say it. We've already kind of addressed it,
Spencer, the one thing me and Gary can do, we can keep on beating that dead horse.
God, you're like my wife, bringing up the same shit I did last week. I apologize, honey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you know what,
you said it screwed up.
Yeah, I tell you guys all the time. DWTT, what does it stand for? Right? Don't waste a trip. And I felt like Arteta wasted it. Right?
No wasted, dog.
Yeah. So, and you know what? I just felt like he wasted a trip. He had an opportunity there, and he didn't take it. And we lost points, I think, for it. We made. You know what? We drew 4 times from winning positions. Right?
Yeah.
If we won 2 of those, we have 2 extra points. Right? Even if we lost the other 2. Right? No. If we lost the 2, like if the plan was we need to score to get that second goal, and then either we get the second goal or we give up the goal that ties, or we lose it, whatever the case may be, right? But if you win 2 of those, you get 2 extra points on top of, if you lost the other 2. Right? I would say 50-50, you decide to go and try to get that second goal. Maybe you win the game. As opposed to...
But it won another one, you would have lost.
That's the worst case scenario, is that you lose. But if you're ahead by 1, I don't expect us to lose by 1 after that. But I think I'd rather try and go for the win than to sit back and just hold on to a 1-goal lead when the other team is pushing us.
But what's bad about this situation, you have us discussing it. You had Stan 18 months ago it might have been even longer than that. He says it's been a year, but I know it's been at least a year and a half. And his question is, what happens when Odegaard goes down? The answer was we play 3 holding midfielders, even though we have this promising guy that comes out and scores almost every opportunity he gets to go out there. And that's why me and Gary ate up beat the dead horse, because when Harry should have been out there, it might be the difference of us finishing first or third or first and second, wherever we end up finishing. I mean, those margins of Arteta not going with the young talent because, I don't think he can do the defensive responsibilities. Well, put Timber back behind him. He's stay there. He's be defensive, so you can go out and attack. It's not hard. You switch your tactics. He did it when he went to a 4-4-2. It worked. He went away with it. That didn't work. So I kind of wonder if he'll go with that with Odegaard in the
I'm gonna
team.
call Mikel after this. I'm gonna say, look, man, you gotta play this and worry, kid.
You know what the stat
to Tony and Gary says so.
No, the
I'll
stats
worry.
say you should. Every 60 minutes he scores a goal.
I'll call Stan Kroenke.
That's
Don't
that's
worry.
the tops. That's the tops in the team. I mean, he's the 4th highest scorer in the squad.
He's a good player. He's direct.
The fourth highest goal contributor on the squad. He's 17, right?
Listen, if we're sitting here in January and Rory's out for in like 30 minutes a game and he's starting, then good. I mean, we're gonna talk about this guy in a second. I'm sure maybe you'll bring it up. I don't know, but Tierney's in the squad, and I was talking to my buddy Matt today, and I'm like, look, I like Kieran. I think he's good. I think he's a really good player. Can't stay healthy. But if it comes down to minutes, give him to Miles Lewis-Skelly at this point. Give him the minutes. That's what I want. Give me an unknown quantity.
And to go what you prefaced with earlier, it really doesn't matter what we think. It's what Arteta thinks. And Tierney is not going to be that attacking fullback that Arteta wants. So that's why we haven't seen him at all this season. Haven't seen him in the training photos. He's just like, he's a ghost.
I mean, I'm glad to have him back. I'm going to be fair with you. I think he's defensively sound. I think he's more defensively sound than Zinchenko, but Zinchenko is better on the ball. So can we morph them together?
It's good to have it's good to have him back healthy. I mean, because one, is he long for Arsenal? Probably not, but it's good to have him back, and maybe he'll get some minutes, and maybe we'll be able to send him on his way back. Is it back to Scotland? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I heard maybe is it Rangers? I think it is, or Celtics. Celtic would probably would welcome him back. So it's good to have him healthy, and maybe give him some minutes. I mean, for me, it's more this would be like marketing for a player that you're probably going to sell or hopefully get some money for in January. Because I don't think he's one long for Arsenal, and two, Tomiyasu just signed a new contract, so I think that's the answer there. So for me,
I just think it's criminal when you're looking for defensive stability. You got him. You can go there. You do it with Timbers, so you can do that on both sides if you want to. Then have more of attack, because that's why you have 2 fullbacks and 2 center backs, because they're supposed to be back there and play defense. Instead, Arteta attacks with the fullbacks, leaves the center backs alone. He used to drop Granit Xhaka back to left back when we would be on the attack. But it just makes me pull my hair out that you have these people, you know what they can do, but you don't put them in their roles where they're going to succeed. I mean, it's easy to know that Tierney can't go forward, but he's great at defense. So when you're going at a team that has a real good offense, Tierney should be out there. It's I don't know. It's just, to me, our Arteta overcomplicates things, and he just has this vision where he just wants this one thing. But guess what? I might want to run 5 miles every day, or have Krispy Kreme donuts delivered daily for free the rest of my life, or go out with Halle Berry or whatever. It's not gonna happen. Things change. You have to have a wider view. Arteta has to put these guys where they succeed. And it just drives me nuts that he doesn't.
Well, there's two thoughts that change the thought there. Either he does what you said, or he does what he wants because he's the manager and the coach. And in that case, then his, football sporting director or whatever gets him the players that fit the mold. That's what should happen because that's how it supposedly happens. You come up with a system and you bring the players in that fit the system, right? So if the system's Arteta's system, then that's what you do. So I hear what you're saying, but that's why, for me, that's why the recruitment has got to be in line with what you're expecting now.
But
right now, Tierney doesn't fit what we want. We knew that as soon as Arteta showed us what he really wanted out of it. He did help us get when Tierney came in. I was like, "Yep, there's our left back right there," right? But then he doesn't give us all the things that Arteta wanted, right?
has there been any whispers of who we're looking at as football director since Adu's
I don't think anything's going to happen
to us?
Yeah, nothing's going to happen until the summer. So, and there are lots of names of directors and stuff that have decided they're not going to go back to their squads. Right? There's the one from PSG, and I think there's a guy from Portugal or Brazil. I can't remember where, but so there are lots of names with established resumes that are out there. So, but I don't think anything's going to happen until the summer. So we're just going to be doing it, as a whoever's in the house right now, right? Which is the number 2 to Edu and Garlic, along with Arteta. So, yeah, that's what it's going to be until the summer. And I think there are some good names that could come up that can help us. So, yeah. The thing is, for me, Arsenal, if they're really and truly they can't get anybody in, it has to be ASAP. Right? As soon as they bring that person in, they should be ready to go. Sometimes Arsenal likes to drag these things out like they haven't been looking all along. So,
but yeah, you have to have that decided. Really, you want it decided before March.
That's not going to happen.
Because that's when you really start scouting and doing all that stuff. It's not at the end of the season. So, I at least they can say, "Hey, we want you. Just say you're coming here, and here's the people we're looking at. What do you think of them?"
Like I said, I don't think anything's going to happen until the summer, until the season's close to over, if not close to it. So, yeah, and I think I think they kept Edu. That's where they probably went wrong. Is Edu was, I think, out the door sooner than when we realized it. So I think that's where Arsenal as a whole went wrong. They needed to have been looking for a replacement already. And I guess they dragged it out or pushed it out as much as they could. Similar to kind of White's surgery, something they knew about and they could have done before the season, but they, for whatever reason, decided they're going to hold on and keep it going until they had gotten past a certain point of time. So
that happens a lot on those type of injuries. It's something that you can fight through. It's not going to hold you back too much.
yeah,
But sometimes it's better just to get it done so then you can hit the ground running faster later on.
yeah. But you got to remember, we didn't have Calafiore. Timber wasn't a every 90-minute player for us. So and Tomiyasu was injured. So and Zinchenko was injured. So I kind of felt like Ben White was he was just his having to play was the result of not having healthy players. At one point going in the summer, right, we were like, oh man, we've got like 8 fullbacks, it looks like. And then kind of early into the season, we're like, damn it, we only have like 3. You know what I mean?
We had Skelly. Tierney could have been in there.
Tierney just got healthy, so that's not. No, Skelly, young player. We know how Arteta does with that. So, nope, those are not good answers. Like we didn't have a healthy squad in terms of defensive players. So that's why I think Ben White was asked to play. The thing is, my understanding is he can play with it, right? And that's not an issue. I think eventually it was going to get worse. So he could play with it, and that's kind of what he was doing, managing himself as best he could. So and once we got healthy, you saw he just went and did the surgery. So that's kind of how that thing worked out.
But to me, because they did it last year. He was hurt, but he was still playing. But they went with what I've been saying forever. They went with a back 3 because if you're playing center back, you're not running up and down the pitch. And we originally got him as a center back.
He's not replacing Saliba and Gabriel. So try again, Tony. That's not another bad answer.
I'm said with 3 players, okay, not 2 players.
No, but we don't play with 3 center backs.
We did when he was hurt last year.
We don't play with that. We've seen what we do now. He'll put Partey as a right back because he's not playing with 3 center backs.
Makes me want to pull my hair out too.
Well, that's what's going on. I am not drinking on the show. Not this one, anyways. I do drink on shows, but not this one. I am drinking. It's actually ginger beer that I'm drinking. So it's not an alcohol.
You're giving me a big dose of Lego logic.
Yeah, Tim Curry was not receptionist, but the guy worked at the desk, right? So does that mean an animal just walked in?
Yeah.
The door just opened. I didn't see anybody.
It's a ghost, Gary. I have a ghost in here.
Yeah. Nah, Tony, I hear what you're saying. I think Ben White was just the reason why he had to play was unlucky because we didn't do our business in time, right? Calafiore didn't come in early enough. All these things kind of contributed to him having to play. Timber not being 100% ready to go. All these things, Zinchenko not being healthy, once again. So, Tommy, see, the problem is Tomiyasu and Zinchenko have always been like injury prone for us, right? And we re-signed Tomiyasu because for some reason we thought it was going to work. And then guess what? He gets injured before and has he actually played for us this season? I don't even know.
Yes.
He's played for us. How long has he played? Let's see. Tomiyasu has played 7 minutes for us. 7. So, no, he hasn't really played for us, but 7 minutes he's played for us. And I think it's been a long time since he played for us. So that deal did not work.
The question you asked is, has he played for us? Not has he played a long time for us?
Very true. Yeah, it's very good. Exactly right, Tim. He stood at the reception. That's right. Yeah, he's funny. I like him.
But it's something you've
That's
known
right.
this forever with Zinchenko. Only time he played over like with 25 games was his first season in Russia. I think he played like 40 or 42 games because they got more teams in their league, but that's the only time he's done it. He didn't do it at City. He's not done it for us. So you know those things. You've known for 3.5 seasons that Tamiyasu muscles suck. He's like tore or screwed up every muscle he has. He like has more injuries than I do somehow. But you've seen it, and that's that's the problem. You don't go out there and you get the clear options because you've been playing with a center back as a right back for two seasons now. I know you, Gary. You think Timbers should be the right back, correct?
That's what he plays. That's where he was playing at Ajax before he came. So he's a right back. But as you know, Arteta likes versatile players, so they sometimes have to play wherever they're needed.
I think he looks better on the left. But
like I said, he played at Ajax at right back. I think Ajax is a team that puts players in the right positions and gets the best out of them. So I would kind of defer to that as being maybe might be okay to have him play right back for us.
yeah, but in Dutch football, you play all 11 positions.
I don't remember
until they figure out where you play at.
But it's a right back is where he was. That's where he was playing it. And my understanding is he's a right back. Can play anywhere on the back line.
I think we look a lot better when he's on the left than the right.
You haven't seen him on the right enough to know.
From what I've seen, I prefer him on the left.
I saw him on the right versus Forest, and outside of the offsides, I think he played well. If he stays on side a couple of times and he put his foot through the ball, and the one time he does get through and gets the ball passed to him, he would have done his job and more.
Spencer, left or right?
As a politician would say, it depends on the situation, sir.
See, that's Arteta. That's what that is. What Arteta
you remember yesterday when Ray wanted me to say "F you, Gary"? This is when I would say "F you" to Spencer.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, it depends on the situation. And did I tell you? Never mind.
Well, you wrote it here, so this is what you're gonna say. But that's terrible. That is terrible. So wait, you're saying
true?
Yeah, that's better than Dusty Rhodes? Dusty Rhodes is an American, isn't he?
Yeah, but non-Americans can win the U.S. championship. Actually.
No, but you said he's the greatest U.S. champion.
Yep.
Is that is it like a new trophy that just
the U.S. championship?
He's the new one they just created? Oh, okay. That's not saying much then. All right. And that's terrible for the sport as well, if that's where you're going with that one. So I think anyways.
He brings a lot of sponsorship money, so.
And that's why it has nothing to do with the wrestling. So yeah. But I think as you know, a lot of the champions from the past were known for their wrestling as well as their talents with their mouth and whatever they can bring to the table.
Gary,
yes,
why you see him as on every show? You'll have this metal card
because half the people hate him.
You have this metal cart, and at the bottom you have these small bottles of Pride. And as you go up, you get bigger and bigger. Then you have like this giant, like empty 10-gallon dill or 5-gallon dill of Prime, but
Yeah.
then then every pay-per-view you got Prime in the middle, so
Yeah.
it's about money.
Yeah. I
But,
hear you.
he is a very talented wrestler for as
You know what?
little
You
that
know
he's
what,
done it.
Tony, shut your mouth. And this is where you get the two letters that I'm not going to say. So we are hitting. We just Chris Nix joins us. And we're about to end the show. We've hit the
Bye, Chris.
We've
Bye,
hit the
Chris. Bye,
95
Chris.
minute mark. Tony's now really trying to piss me off with that comment. You're Paul. Paul Logan is not good for wrestling, even though he makes money for the people at the top. But anyways, we've hit the 95-minute mark. It's time for us to get out of here because we've gotten to the point where people are praising Logan Paul, and I can't have that on my show. That's just sorry.
You can go to my show on Thursday.
No, nobody wants to go to your show if you're going to be bigging up Logan Paul. I'm going to steer them away. So take that back. Take it back. Don't try to.
You can. I can send you a link, Gary.
Too
No,
late.
I'm not coming to your show because you're bigging up Logan Paul.
The toothpaste is out of the tube.
We know where you stand, and you stand in a terrible spot. But Tony, tell the people where to go.
Ron Simmons.
Where to go, and good night.
You can see me at Dropkick is the Twitter handle for it, but it's Dropkick Wrestling. Missile Dropkick.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yeah. Also, for those who didn't know, Tony's he's out there he's also out there with a little charity drive to get a little help on his is it your
wheelchair assist,
so he can help him. As you know, he's had was it shoulder surgery because it's hard work pushing the chair.
Three shoulder surgeries, and I need a fourth. So
yeah, that's crazy. Anything else, Tony, you want to say before we get out of here?
You can join me on Thursday, and you can also join me on Saturday because Survivor Series was born on Thanksgiving, and they go for the weekend of Thanksgiving now. But Survivor Series should be pretty good. You had a surprise of who the fifth member of the.
You're gonna give the show synopsis now, dude? Save it for the show. Tell the people goodbye. Bye, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
All right, Spencer. Give the people some words to live by so they can have a good night.
Well, hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. Over here in the States, I know it's probably not celebrated over in the UK, but make sure you eat as excessively as possible, as much as possible. There's the 3 F's on Thursday: football, food, and family. Make sure you enjoy all of them. I wasn't going there, Gary. I know where you were thinking there for a second.
I don't know where you. No, that wasn't. No.
I was a TV show. I'll tell you out there. Anyway, but no. So yeah, enjoy your time with your family. Take care. Just remember to be thankful every day you're above ground is a good day, regardless of the situations. Glad to see Arsenal back on 3 points. Good to see Tony. Glad to see you're doing all right. And then Gary, yourself as well. Rosie, BX, Tom, everybody in the chat room, Steven, everybody that's come by and said hello tonight. And that's it. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and take care.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll do this again next Monday. Hopefully, Arsenal has completed another 2-win week. I think we play on Saturday. I don't even remember. Do we play Saturday?
Yeah,
we play on Saturday. We play on Saturday. So check out the games and we'll talk about it then. But thank you for joining. We'll do this again, and we will see you when we see you. As Spencer did say, Thanksgiving time to give thanks for everything you've got. Yeah. Please enjoy that. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride, as I like to say. And this is another one of those times to do that. But say hi to your family if you haven't in a while. Say hi to your friends if you haven't in a while. And we'll be back. All right, everyone. Thank you. Yes. Hit the likes and subscribe. I'm going to talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Life is a journey. Don't waste your trip. Enjoy the ride. There you go.